So hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to understand what is Boyle's law. And guys, for understanding Boyle's law, I would like to tell you all some basics concept of maths. So for understanding those concepts, let's move to my book. Wondering what is maths have to do when it comes to chemistry. So guys, please listen carefully over here because these concepts are going to help you all in drawing the graphs required for understanding these laws. Okay, so basics I'm going to tell you all. First of all, you must be heard of the equation y is equals to mx. This is nothing but a equation of a line, and as we all know, this equation stands for a line which passes through the origin. Okay, so basically we have a y-axis over here, a x-axis over here, and this equation y is equals to mx is for a line which passes through the origin, where this angle made by the line with the horizontal x-axis is known as theta. We don't know this angle, we have assumed it to be theta. Okay, so now if you want to find out the slope of this line, so to find out the slope of this line, the simple formula is nothing but the tan theta. So when you take the tan of this theta, you will ultimately get the slope of this line. Now let us understand what these terms in the equation mean. This y stands for this y-axis, a variable along y-axis. This x stands for variable along x-axis, and this m is simply nothing but your slope of line. So this slope is represented by m, and what is the formula for finding out slope? It is nothing but simple formula tan of theta. Okay, so I hope this much is clear for you guys. The next thing I would like to mention over here is that you need to understand one more equation of a line. Okay, so the next equation is nothing but y is equals to mx plus c. Now since here there is a constant added, here c is nothing but a constant, so since there is a constant added, therefore our line is not going to pass through the origin. So from where it is going to pass, let us understand that. Okay, so I draw a basic y-axis over here, am I right? And I draw a horizontal x-axis. Now this line is going to pass somewhere from above. It is cutting the y-axis. Okay, so now let us understand these terms over here. This y represents nothing but the variable along y-axis. This x represents nothing but the variable along x-axis. This m is nothing but the slope of the line. Okay, so now you might be wondering how can we find out the theta to find out the slope of a line. So for that you need to draw a dotted line which is parallel to the x-axis, and this angle theta is nothing but used to find out your slope. So if you find out the tan of this angle, you will get the slope of this line which is cutting the y-axis. Okay, now what is this c? This c is nothing but the distance of the intercept made with y-axis till the distance of origin. In simple words, this c is nothing but the distance of origin till the intercept made. I hope you can pretty much see this with the help of the diagram. So I hope these small concepts are clear for you all. So now if these concepts are clear for you all, so now let us move on to our gas laws. Okay, so what are gas laws? Gas laws are nothing but that tells us the interdependence of physical properties of gas. Now I know you might not have understood what is the meaning of this. Okay, so let me tell you. See, what are the meaning of physical properties? Basically gas has four physical properties. One, which is nothing but pressure, which is represented by P. The second one is volume, which is represented by V. The third one is N. And what is N? N is nothing but the number of moles of gas. Okay, so N is nothing but number of moles of gas. And guys, if you don't know what is moles, don't worry, I have already made a video on that. You can find the link in the description box below, or you can simply click on this I button over here. Okay, and the another factor over here is nothing but your temperature, which is represented by T. So the physical properties of gas are nothing but pressure, volume, number of moles and temperature. Now what is the use of these gas laws? In each gas law, that is in each 4 of the gas laws, we will be keeping 2 of the quantities constant, that is we will not change 2 quantities, and we will find out the relation between the third and the fourth quantity. In simple words, if I say I will keep pressure and volume constant, and we will find out the relation between number of moles and temperature. And in another law, I will keep volume and number of moles constant, and I will find out the relation between pressure and temperature. So in basically all the laws, we are going to do the same thing. We are going to fix the 2 physical properties, and we are going to find out the relation between the remaining 2 properties. So I hope guys this is clear for you. So let's start with the first law, that is our Boyle's law. Okay, so now what does Boyle's law tells us? So Boyle's law tells us that if you keep number of moles and temperature constant, that is the number of moles of gas and temperature of the gas is made constant, we are not going to change these values now, then the pressure is inversely proportional to volume of the gas, which means that if you increase the pressure of the gas, the volume of the gas is going to decrease, and if you decrease the volume of the gas, the pressure of the gas is going to increase. So in short, you can say that they are inversely proportional. If one is increasing, the another one is decreasing. Okay, so if pressure is increasing, volume is going to decrease. If volume is increased, then pressure is going to decrease. Now let us understand this with the help of a small experiment carried out by Robert Boyle. Okay, so what he did was that, see, he took a beaker, a simple beaker over here, and he put a piston on top. Okay, so he has put a piston on top, and inside this beaker he has taken, let's say, 6 moles of gas. So inside this beaker he has taken 6 moles of gas. Now what he does is that he increases the volume of the beaker. Now how he is going to increase the volume of the beaker? He is going to take this piston above. Okay, so when he takes this piston above, what is going to happen is that the volume of the beaker for 6 moles of gas is going to increase. So now can you see, here also there are 6 moles, here also there are 6 moles, but here the 6 moles are getting more volume. Okay, so can I say that here there is less volume and here the volume is greater? Am I right? Now since the volume is less over here, what happens is that these molecules, these 6 molecules are going to exert force on the container. What are they going to do? They are going to exert force on the container. How are they going to exert force? They will collide on the walls of the container. Am I right? There is very small space, so obviously they are going to collide on the walls, and when they collide on the walls of the container, they are going to exert force. Now here the force exerted by these moles will be less. Why it will be less? Because they have enough space in the container to move. Now if you observe if you know one thing, that pressure is directly proportional to force, which means that if you increase the pressure, force is going to increase, and if you decrease the force, pressure is also going to increase. So they are directly proportional to each other. So now here, since the force is increased, obviously your pressure, obviously the pressure is also going to get increased. And since here the force is decreased, obviously your pressure is also going to decrease. So I hope this particular experiment you have understood. Now what are the conclusions made from this experiment by Robert Boyle? He said that volume is inversely proportional to pressure. Can you see over here that whenever we are decreasing volume, the pressure is increasing, and whenever we are increasing volume, the pressure is decreasing. So this is what Boyle law tells us, that pressure and volume, they both are inversely proportional to each other. Okay, so now moving ahead. So now if you want to remove this proportionality sign, so whenever you have to remove this proportionality sign and you have to replace it by equal to sign, what you have to do, you have to add a constant over here. This is a common basic math you must know, that whenever we remove the proportionality sign, we have to add a constant. Let's say we have added a constant k1. Okay, so we have added a constant k1 into 1 upon this volume. Okay, so guys, I hope this much is pretty much clear for you all. Now, can I compare this with the equation y is equals to mx? See over here, I already told you all y is equals to mx. So when I compare this equation with y is equals to mx and I plot a graph. So when I plot a graph, I know one thing, that my line is going to pass through the origin. This one thing is clear for me because I am comparing with the equation y is equals to mx. So obviously my line is going to pass through the origin. Okay, and on the y axis we have pressure. So when you compare with this equation, on the y axis we get pressure, and on the x axis we have volume, that is 1 upon volume. It is not volume, it is 1 upon volume. So on the y axis you have pressure, and on the x axis you have 1 upon volume. Am I right? And this m, what is m? If you have forgotten, this m is nothing but the slope of this line. So similarly, the slope of this line is nothing but k1. So slope is equals to k1. So I hope this thing is clear for you all. And this angle made by the line with the horizontal x axis, which is our 1 upon v, is called as theta. So whenever you want to find out this value of k1, you just have to take the tan of theta and you will get the value of slope. So I hope our first graph is clear for you. Now consider this equation again. Can I write this equation as P into V is equals to K1? Is this right? I have just shifted this V, which is in the denominator, to the left hand side. So when it goes from right hand side to the left hand side, it is obviously going to go in the numerator. So I hope this equation is clear for you. Now this is not just an equation. You have to understand this equation. What is the use of this equation? This equation tells us that when you keep number of moles constant and when you keep temperature constant and you multiply pressure with volume, the value which you are going to get is a constant value. It is not going to change. This K1 is nothing but your constant. Am I right? So let's understand this with the help of an example. You will get to know better. Let's say that our pressure is 2 atmospheric pressure and our volume is, let's say, 8 atmospheric pressure. So 2 into 8, obviously it is going to give you 16. So now here what is the value of our constant K1? It is nothing but 16. Am I right? Now let's say that you change the pressure from 2 to 4. So when you change the pressure from 2 to 4, as mentioned earlier, that the value of this constant is not going to change. The value of this constant K1 is going to remain 16 only. The only thing that is going to change is that volume. So volume will become 4 over here to give us 4 into 4, 16. So one thing that you have observed over here is that whenever pressure changes, the volume adjusts itself to get the same value of constant. Let's understand better with the help of another example. Let's say that you have now made the pressure from 4 atmospheric pressure to 8. Okay, so you have changed the value of pressure from 4 atmospheric pressure to 8. Okay, and as we all know that the value of this constant K is going to remain same, that is 16. Now to adjust the multiplication, the volume is going to change itself from 4 to 2, so that we get 8 into 2 is equals to 16. So now what I want you all to observe over here is that the value of this constant K1 remains the same. So can I say that the multiplication of pressure into volume remains the same? Multiplication of pressure into volume remains the same. Multiplication of pressure into volume remains the same. This is what I want you all to observe over here. Now with the help of these observations, we need to draw one graph over here. Now what is this graph? Let us understand. Let us say that we have multiplication of pressure into volume. Okay, so we have multiplication of pressure into volume, and as we have seen over here that the multiplication of pressure into volume, which is nothing but K1, is going to remain constant. So this value is obviously going to remain constant, that is for any pressure, for whatever pressure you take, as I have explained earlier, whether you take pressure as 2, 4, 8, for any value of pressure, the value of P into V is going to remain a constant. It is not going to change. See, the multiplication of pressure P into V is 16 here, P into V is 16 here, P into V is 16 here. Okay, now as I have done for pressure, so can I say guys one more observation, that is for P into V, whichever volume you change, whether you make the volume from 8, 4, 2, so whichever volume you change, the P into V multiplication is going to give us a constant value. I hope guys this concept is clear for you, that the multiplication of pressure into volume is always going to be a constant value. That is what I have done. The multiplication of pressure into volume is always going to be one single value. It is always going to be constant, whether you change the pressure or whether you whether you change the volume. It is always going to be same. Now can I comment one thing? Listen carefully what I am going to comment now. When we change the pressure, the volume adjusts itself to get the same constant value, and when we change the volume, the pressure is going to adjust itself to get the same value of constant. Okay, so I hope both these graphs are clear for you. So guys, if you know that we have done 3 graphs in less than 20 minutes, which is a great achievement for us. Okay, so I hope you have understood these 3 graphs. Now if you have understood these 3 graphs, let us understand another 4th graph, and this graph is very easy. Let's understand this how. For that guys, give me 1 minute time to plot the points over here. Okay, so let's say this is my 1, this is my 2, this is my 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, and on the y-axis I plot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 over here. Sorry, there is a mistake done over here. I first brought small arrows. Okay, so I hope you can understand this for me. Okay, so now when you see, let's take along y axis we take pressure and along z axis we take volume. Okay, now if you see, for pressure is equals to 2, so for pressure is equals to 2, your volume is nothing but 8. So for pressure is equals to 2, your volume is nothing but 8. So for pressure is equals to 2, your volume is nothing but 8. So can I plot a point over here where my pressure is nothing but 2 and volume is equals to 8. So I have just plotted this point where my pressure is 2 and volume is 8. Similarly, can I plot this point also where my both pressure is also 4 and volume is also 4. So my pressure is also 4 and here my volume is also 4. So can I plot this point 4 comma 4 where my pressure is 4 and volume is also 4. Okay. Similarly guys, can I plot this point also 8 into 2 where my pressure is 8. Okay, my pressure is 8 and my volume is 2. So when I plot this graph over here, so this is my point 2 comma 8. Am I right? Where my pressure is 8 and my volume is 2. And now when I join all these 3 points, can you all see that you are getting a curve over here? So can I say that the curve for the graph pressure by volume, the graph is always going to be a curve, which means that, let's understand this in a better way. Whenever you plot the graph for pressure by volume, so whenever you plot the graph for pressure by volume, you are always going to get a curve over here. So I hope you have understood this fourth graph also. So let us understand all one by one. First, we plotted pressure by 1 by V graph, pressure by 1 by V graph, and we got a straight line which is passing through the origin. Secondly, we plotted the pressure into volume versus pressure graph where we got a constant value of P into V. Secondly, we plotted the pressure into volume versus volume graph where we got a constant value of P into V. And the fourth graph that we did with the help of our examples to understand it in a better way, that pressure by volume graph is always going to be a curve, which I have shown this in a better way over here. So whenever you plot pressure by volume keeping number of moles and temperature constant, you are always going to get this curve. You can see this curve in a textbook also. Okay, so I hope guys till here everything is clear for you. Okay, now can I again consider this equation P into V is equals to K1. So now when I consider this equation, let's take a fresh page. Okay, so I consider this equation P into V is equals to K1. Okay, now what I am going to do, I am going to take log on both the sides. So log of P into V is equals to log of K1. And as we all must know this thing, that the property of log is whenever two numbers are multiplying, we can separate them as log of P plus log of V. And as it is, I am writing log of K1. Now what I am going to do over here, I am going to shift this log of V to the right hand side. Okay, so this log of P, when it goes on the right hand side, it becomes minus log of V plus log of K1. Now why I am doing this, because I have to compare this with the equation y is equals to mx plus c. Now here, do you all remember I have done this equation y is equals to mx plus c, where we have seen that our line does not pass through the origin. Okay, so here it is not going to pass through the origin, and it is going to cut the y-axis somewhere over here. Okay, so now let us understand this graph over here. Okay, so whenever you compare y is equals to mx plus c, I will first draw a y-axis. That is the first job we must do. Then I draw a x-axis, and as we all know that for y-axis here we have log of p. So for y-axis we have log of p, and for x-axis we have log of v. Okay, I hope this thing is clear for you. And here if you observe very carefully that the value of this m is nothing but -1. See, can I write this minus log v as -1 into log v? Am I right? So this is what the same thing, m is equals to -1 over here. So the value of m is -1. And what is the formula for finding out this value of m? It is nothing but tan theta. So tan theta is -1. So can I say that the value of theta is nothing but tan inverse of -1? So the value of theta, you get it as -45 degree. Now since the value of this theta is -45 degree, your line is not going to go up, your line is going to go down, because your theta is -45 over here. Okay, so I will just draw a line over here. So this is the line which we get. Now how we are going to show this -45 degree? See, we are going to draw a horizontal line which is parallel to the x-axis, which is our log v, and this angle is the 45 degree angle. So I hope this thing is pretty much clear for you all, the concept of theta. So since theta is negative, therefore our line is going to be downwards. If the theta would have been positive, it is obvious that our line would have been upwards. Okay, now moving ahead, you have understood what is the log p, log v, but what is the use of this log k1? We haven't yet used log k1 in this graph. As mentioned earlier, see, in this equation, c is nothing but the y-intercept. Similarly, this log k1 is nothing but going to be your y-intercept. So the value of this log k1 is going to be this distance from origin till this intersection. I hope guys Boyle's law is clear for you all. And in Boyle's law we have done we have first understood this basics. So we have done these two graphs, then we have done these three, so total 5, the fourth one, and then this fifth one. Okay, so in short we have done 5 graphs from chemistry and we have understood 2 graphs from maths. So guys, here we finish the Boyle's law. And I forgot to mention one point, that let's say that this pressure which we have taken as 2, we consider it to be P1, which means that rather than taking 2, we will take some another value into V1. So volume we assume it to be V1 is equals to K1. Okay, so the K1 value is fixed as we all know. So similarly, can I take this 4 to be P2, and this 4 obviously becomes your V2. So P2 into V2 is going to give you K1. Similarly, can I take this to be P3 into this V3 will obviously give me K1. So if you observe one thing over here, that the right hand sides of all these equations is same, that is K1. So I get a formula from here, that is P1 V1 is equals to P2 V2 is equals to P3 V3. Now what is the use of this formula? This formula is used for solving numericals when they give you combinations of various pressure and volumes. So here we finished everything regarding to Boyle's law. We will move ahead now. So guys, here you all need to keep one thing in mind, that whichever graphs I have explained in this video are just the basic graphs. If you want to know in depth, that is the variations in the graphs which will be asked in a JEE Main examination, then you have to watch my next video, which is on ideal gas equation. Okay, so in that video I will be explaining you all the variations in these graphs which will help you all to answer the questions in your JEE Main examination. And guys, do not forget to check out my channel where I have uploaded physics and chemistry videos. They might be helpful for you all. Guys, thank you for watching this video.